Avoid these 3 PowerPoint mistakes. In theory, using PowerPoint can make your presentations better, but most speakers use it ineffectively. And I'll give you 3 tips to avoid these mistakes. And be sure to get your free PDF download of these 7 instant tips to become a more confident speaker. I'll put a link to that in the expandable description below the video. Here are 3 related mistakes and tips to fix them. First, speakers use their PowerPoint slides as their speaking notes. This first mistake leads to lots of other problems. Here's what I mean. Instead of creating separate speaking notes on cards, a tablet, or a notebook that the speaker has in front of them, the speaker essentially puts everything they want to remember on their slides. And that makes them dependent on the screen in back of them. The speaker ends up turning around and looking at the screen most of the time. Speakers like this might start strong because they've practiced their introduction and there's nothing substantial on the slides yet. But then as they move into the body of the presentation, they turn their shoulders toward the slides, and some speakers stay turned back to the slides and then only glance at the audience the rest of the time. The speaker loses all connection with listeners. Eye contact goes down, their energy goes down, and their impact goes down. So the tip is to take what's on your slides and create a simplified version of your notes and put those on cards, a notebook, or a tablet. We call these speaking notes. That way you essentially never need to look back at the screen because your speaking notes are literally in front of you. And while we're talking about speaking notes, I always recommend simplifying those as much as possible, all the way down to just keywords or phrases. That way you're not tempted to look at your notes the whole time and get locked in. Think of your speaking notes as just a safety net to help you stay on track. This approach takes more practice, but it's what the professional speakers do. It completely frees you up to connect with your audience, speak conversationally, and communicate with more impact. The second PowerPoint mistake is to use too many words on each slide. I've seen many speakers put almost a word-for-word version of their entire presentation on the slides. The slides get crowded with text, hard to read, and really demanding for your audience to look at. As a speaker, it'll also be a huge temptation to do mistake number 1, which is turn around and look back at the slides. But it hurts in other ways. Your listeners will end up asking themselves, well, if everything's on the slides, why are we even listening to the presentation? I could just read the deck of slides myself. The tip for this is to think of your slides as just a visual aid. Your slides are not a recreation of your entire presentation. The slides are there for your listeners, not for you. Slides should enhance what you say, but not make what you say unnecessary. So instead of filling your slides with word-for-word text, use limited keywords, phrases, images to express your message. Show just the most important data or quotation. Express just one key idea per slide. Simpler is usually better. The third mistake is using too many slides. Just like too many words, too many slides can also get very tiring for your listeners. And if you're all caught up as a presenter managing your slides, then you're not really focused on your audience. In fact, I've noticed that with rare exceptions, the best presenters use very few slides and sometimes no slides. They put all their energy and focus into connecting with listeners, building rapport, presenting with impact, and making sure they bring their listeners along on the journey. The tip to fix this mistake is to use fewer slides. So my challenge is this. However many slides you usually use, your first step is to cut that in half. Use the need to have versus nice to have principle. What slides do you really need to have there? And what slides are just nice to have there? And then cut all of the nice to have slides. Once you've done that, you can make sure your remaining slides are clear and simple and make the impact you're looking for. You'll notice in this video, for example, I'm only using about 1 slide or so per minute with minimal text on each one. When it comes to slides, less is more. But if you're up for it, I recommend you take my 1 slide challenge. If you have a short presentation, around 5 minutes or so, I recommend using just 1 slide. If you have 3 points, for example, you could create a slide that shows just those 3 points and reveal them one at a time. Another way to just use 1 slide is to put up your main theme or bottom line or thesis, as we call it in school, of your whole presentation and leave it up there for most of the presentation. You just show or reveal that slide when you first state your bottom line and then leave it up there until about the end. If you can take the 1 slide challenge, it'll help you break all of these bad PowerPoint habits we've been talking about. Let's review. Don't treat your slides like they are your speaking notes. Create separate and simplified speaking notes that you keep in front of you. Second, don't write anything close to word-for-word recreation of your message on your slides. Just use keywords, phrases, the most important quotations and data, or images to reinforce your message. Third, avoid using too many slides. Cut it in half, or better yet, take the one slide challenge. And be sure to download the free PDF I mentioned of the top 7 ways to instantly become a more confident speaker. Until next time, thanks, God bless, and we'll see you soon.